We're trying to build something here, and we've played some of the best teams in the NBA, and we've probably played some of the worst teams in the NBA. And I feel like for the most part, our team has approached every game the same, with sort of a concentration and a focus to just get better and improve. Our coaching staff has put us in a great position with our game plans, and tonight against them, because of LeBron, it's probably a more complicated game plan than some teams, so we have to be really locked in with that. But I think just continue to do what we've been doing, and do it better. We still, like I've said a few times over the last few weeks, even though I feel like we're playing well and we're winning, we still have a lot of room to grow, and we need to continue to do that.
Is this a see a crowd type situation with LeBron? Multiple guys, group effort type thing, defending him?
Ideally, yeah, but the problem is, they have 4 shooters on the floor most of the time, which complicates things. There's very few guys you can really help off of. So, we have to be really good with our schemes, whatever they may be, without letting on too much.
You've been around a lot of good players. What's the one thing that really stands out to you about LeBron? I mean, is it his size, his speed? What is it?
His intelligence. He's one of, if not the smartest player to ever play in the NBA. The way he understands the game, sees the game, it's all because of how smart he is. He is sort of the definition of a basketball genius.
How did Ben look today out there? And I know it's just a shoot around and you guys don't do much, but was he favoring the elbow?
I didn't notice anything. I think he was fine. I think he probably, if it was a playoff game, he probably could have played the other night. I think he's fine tonight.
Thank you.
All right.
I guess, two guys that Ben has drawn the most common comps to have been Magic and LeBron. Just from your observations, what similarities do you see between Ben and LeBron? Where do maybe some differences?
Just the size, and the ability to handle and pass. They're both very dangerous in transition. There's really, very few players. I'm trying to think if there's anybody besides LeBron that has had that combination of speed and size and athleticism and strength. So I think it's. Look, LeBron is, I think, the greatest player to ever play. And it's a tough comparison to make for someone who's played with 17 games. So LeBron is obviously in a different category, but I think it's a valid comparison from where LeBron was early in his career to where Ben is now.
JJ, you mentioned more of a complicated game plan tonight for this team. Do you feel like it makes it more of a measuring stick game, or how do you see this game compared to maybe the one?
We've had a lot of measuring stick games. We've had the toughest schedule in the NBA to this point. So. Again, it's one of 82 games against a really good team. We're going to have a bunch of other games against really good teams in the regular season.
Where do you start defensively tonight?
Tonight, I'm going to start on JR, but we're going to throw different matchups at LeBron. We're going to start Benny on him, but we're going to see how the game goes and get a feel for how we're going to defend him.
With him, is he just like a constant see a crowd type guy, mix up looks? Is there any other template for defending him?
You got to mix it up. Different teams, guard him different ways because he's so versatile. He does so much for the team, and he's there that snake. So when he's going, that team's going. You got to cut him off. That way it makes it harder. It makes it easier for us, but it makes it that much more harder for them. And so we're gonna throw different things at him tonight, just to throw different matchups at him.
Yeah, as you see, I guess a lot of people, the two most popular comps for Ben have been Magic and LeBron. In respect to LeBron, what similarities do you see with Ben there? Are there differences that you can pick up on as well?
They have a lot of similarities. One thing about it, LeBron coming in early, he was a driver. That's how Ben plays on. Ben starting to get that jump shot, moving on is earlier than what LeBron did, but it's just continuous, progression. There's going to be a lot of times where, got a long career. You can work on so many different things right now that, it'll come. The jump shot will come, continue to come, But Ben's been doing a great job. That year he took off, he did put a lot of work in, and it's showing, it's showing. But, tonight, it's a big matchup for us, and, it's going to kind of test to see where we're at, so.
You should just see where you play a lot of Western Conference teams already so far, but to play one of the best teams in the East and the Cavs, how much does that mean to you just with this team to see where this team stacks up maybe as compared to years past?
It's a big thing for us. You know, right now they're the East Conference champions from last year. They have to be the ones that, you know, everyone has to go through, you know, to take that title. So for us to match up tonight against them is going to give us a test of where we're at as a team and what we need to work on and where we're going to grow at. So that's one thing that, you know, tonight is going to present. And, you know, the guys are excited for this matchup. You know, it's something that we've been looking forward to for a minute.
Rob, when Joel has to cover somebody like Kevin Love that's going to drag him out to the perimeter, how much extra pressure does that put on you guys to keep everything in front of you?
It makes it a lot. Just considering how, you know, Joel is such a big presence in the paint. We already talked about that guys got to be locked in more, you know, because depending on how, you know, the team plays, Kevin Love is going to be roaming around the perimeter. Sometimes he's going to post up. So it's just a matter of, you know, what the offense presents and, you know, how we react. You know, if he's posting up, that's going to dictate how our defense works. You know, it all varies. But once we notice that as a team, that's going to, you know, be very beneficial for us.
Rob, you know, Ben missed the last game. Joel was under the weather. How did it look to you today and days since?
They looked pretty well. We didn't move around too much today. You know, it's really focused in on, you know, the basics of what we're going to go through, our coverages, you know, our offensive looks. So, you know, shoot-around days, it's not really too much, you know, movement around. It's just more like really focusing on what we need to do as a team and the mental aspect of everything.
Yourself extra energy in the building with every returning?
Yeah, but there's always good energy in the building, so, you know, we've got to worry about ourselves. We've got to bring a bold, aggressive game here, and we obviously all got to be tied together.
Rick, what's your evaluation of why your defense has made the strides it's made? I mean, statistically, there's some really good stuff happening in the last week. What's your evaluation of why that's happened?
I don't want to get into it. You know, why talk about it? I know what's going on.
Okay, without getting into specifics.
You
say you don't want to get into X and O specifics.
Kleber's given us a lot more flexibility defensively, and he's one of our better defenders. Mm-hmm. So when you add a guy like that can guard people individually and switch liberally and keep little guys in front of them, you know, that helps. And so, no, that's been a factor, and it helps with the matchups.
When you looked at him in the offseason, did you realize that he had capability to do things like that? What was your expectation in terms of evaluating him to bring him in that he could potentially do that?
Well, I saw some films on him. He was a very good player on a mid to upper level European team. The big questions were going to be how he could do because of his injury history. But I knew he was a solid all-around player. I didn't know he had some of the versatility that he has defensively, you know, with his size. Look, his summer was an inauspicious start. You know, he didn't play in summer league. He was, you know, he had struggles getting himself physically together and stuff like that. But he's a great worker. Loves to play, and you know, he's earned his minutes.
What would you like to see differently defensively on Aldridge tonight?
Just about everything. Look, Aldridge is a great player. He's having a spectacular year. I can't think of many things we did well against him last game. You know, he went for a huge number, and we're just going to have to do a heck of a lot better tonight.
Rick, it looked like that you know, Dennis had to sit for almost a full quarter. I think actually maybe a little bit over a quarter. I think they had to take him out with fouls with 8 to go in the first and put him back in with 7 in the second. That seems like that's a pretty mature performance to be able to reinsert himself into the game and make things happen. would you say that's a pretty fair assessment of how he played when he came back in after the foul trouble? Didn't commit another foul, by the way, until deep into the fourth quarter, too. So.
Yeah, well, not committing fouls is not, shouldn't be a star on your, on your lapel. I mean, you want to be aggressive, and look, he's going through a lot of different types of situations. That may be the first time all year he's been pulled with 2 quick fouls. So look, that's something you got to adjust to. But he was he stayed into the game mentally on the bench. I was watching him. He was into it. He didn't shut down or anything like that. Stay engaged with his teammates. And look, he knows for us to win, he's got to be an important factor in our game.